It's always funny yet extremely pathetic when a video game journalist admits that they're not good at video games, that they can't play video games, and that ultimately they don't want certain video games to continue to be made or be popular because they suck at them. And that is exactly what has happened with Soulslikes. There are so many journos who say, since I can't play it, I don't want them to be as popular. And Polygon has put out a brand new piece saying that exact thing. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, it would be perfectly fine if they just said, I'm not particularly good at these games, but they're going out of their way to say, all right, that's plenty of Soulslikes, we don't need anymore, and this is a toxic trend. So it says next week sees the release of a very cool looking Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, an action game where you play as a badass pirate warrior with amnesia. While figuring out what's up with your memories, you spend your time fighting giant monsters inflicted by a mysterious feathery illness and have to, damn it, it's another Souls-like. Seriously, we've known from the beginning that it was supposed to be an action / Souls-like experience. I don't know why that's coming as much of a shock to them. They are just trying to dramatize the situation to be like, oh man, I was so excited until I saw this. To be clear, I haven't played Wu Chang Fallen Feathers yet, but the genre it's ostensibly part of is emblematic of a gaming trend that's gone on for far too long. There are too many Souls-likes, largely inspired by From Software's Demon Souls and Dark Souls. These action-adventure games tend to put a heavy focus on blocking, parrying, and dodging attacks, and love to throw a challenging boss fight in your path. Often, they are moody in tone. More often, they make me moody. Oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river and float upstream. Some games are meant to be tough, and that's okay. I don't blame people for not wanting to play Souls-likes, and I can understand if you're a little bit tired of seeing, some of the largest games to release be Souls-likes, but we are talking about a video game reviewer here who is whining about the fact that the video games he has to play are a little bit too difficult. You would think that when you are playing dozens upon dozens of games, if they actually play them, you would get significantly better at them and you wouldn't have that tough of a time. But regardless, they are going out of their way to write an entire article saying that he is sick and tired of these games and they should stop making them. The genre has been around in some capacity for about a decade, but I first noticed it reached a saturation point in 2022 following the release of Steel Rising. Steel Rising was a game that came and went. It did not have that much hype behind it, and I wouldn't necessarily say that in 2022 Steel Rising was like the straw that broke the camel's back for people, because I feel like people didn't even really pay attention to it. I mean, I'm a Souls-like fiend, and I didn't even give it a chance because it just looked mediocre. The following year, Lies of P caught my attention, a Pinocchio game with steampunk vibes, also automatons. Then I played Lies of P and found it much like Steel Rising, parry this, dodge that, get ass kicked by a boss a few times. Also that year, Team Ninja's action game, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, let me down in a similar way. I, again, think that Wolong came and went. It was a game that was very buggy and broken at release. I didn't even get a chance to really play it because of the technical difficulties, but Lies of P is one of the best games I have ever played. Yes, it is very similar to Bloodborne, but it is so amazing. It's really not that tough, especially now when they've added multiple difficulties, and to top all of that off, you have so much story and lore and complexity with the characters. Like, it is a phenomenal game, but of course, they're just dumbing it down to, oh, the combat system is parry this and dodge that, which is a staple in any action game, even if it's not a Souls. Like, look at something like Black Desert Online, right? You are comboing skills, you're dodging, you are avoiding attacks, you're unleashing attacks, and it's not a Souls-like. Are we just going to say that a game with any sort of difficulty that happens to have parrying and dodging is bad? Even games that aren't technically Souls-likes are still absorbing the genre's DNA. Oh, here we go. This started to become clear in 2024 with the release of Stellar Blade, an anime-as-hell action game that looked like what you'd get if you mixed Nier Automata, and it was developed with an actual color palette. Nier Automata's an amazing game and looks beautiful. The gameplay, parry this, dodge that. I hate how they dumb it all down to those two different things. Let's ignore the skills, let's ignore the different weapon types. Like in Lies of P, you can change handle types and blade types to make the exact type of weapon you want, even if it's a godlike weapon. They're ignoring all of these systems to try to get a point across, but really all they're doing is making them themselves look dumb, like they haven't played the game, or they are intentionally leaving out information to try to push a narrative. It says, though, by the time Black Myth Wukong, a boss rush with heavy Souls vibes that nabbed multiple Game Award nominations, rolled around later that year, my genre fatigue was so overwhelming that I didn't even bother playing it. They didn't even bother playing what, in my opinion, was the best game to release in 2024. An absolutely phenomenal game that, again, has a lot of story aside from just the combat. And it's not even a boss rush game. It does have a lot of bosses, yes, but that game isn't even that tough either. Sure, there are a couple of really difficult fights like Erlang, but he's an optional boss. The last boss is tough, but you can also make yourself really overpowered to the point where you don't even have that much of a difficulty with it. And I know, right? I play a lot of Soulslikes, so for me, it might be slightly easier than somebody else. And again, it's perfectly fine if this isn't the type of game for you. But they're even admitting, like, I don't like these games so much now that I didn't even bother playing it. And they're dumbing their arguments down, which is so insulting to these absolutely phenomenal games. They even go on to talk about Claire Obscure, saying you could even make the case that Souls-like plague has infected innocent genres as well, like turn-based RPGs. For instance, did Claire Obscure Expedition 33 really benefit from centering its battles around a parrying mechanic with windows so tight that no one over 30 possesses the reflex to react to them? Yes. Yes, because it enhanced the turn-based experience, and to top all of that off, if you truly didn't want to use the parrying system, you could have gone into the options and you could make it so it automatically parries for you. So it doesn't even affect you at that point. See, you're not even using the tools that are at your disposal. You just want to freaking complain. I'll admit that part of my aversion to the genre is a skill issue. Hey, at least they're admitting that they suck at video games and they probably shouldn't be a professional reviewer for them. There's, of course, a time and a place for challenging games, but after a decade, beating my head against a boss 3, 5, 10 times in a row before cracking its pattern has lost its luster. So many settings in Souls-likes are genuinely captivating, distinct, and well realized in a manner that's just begging to be explored, like French Revolution automatons, Pinocchio automatons. Sometimes I just want to learn more about these worlds without having to pass a skill check, so play these games on easy. These games have easy difficulties, not all of them, like Elden Ring, for example, doesn't, but you can make yourself so overpowered that you click a single button on a weapon and you dodge every once in a while and you back up and, like, you can beat bosses. Yeah. You can put these games on an easier difficulty most of the time. And you guys have even been writing articles, not that this is the same person, but about how we're about to enter a skippable boss fight utopia. This is the type of future that these individuals want. Again, not the same person, but I feel like a lot of these game journalists generally have the same opinion. And if you're complaining about the difficulty in Souls-likes, you probably are somebody who's up for skippable boss fights, which I think is ridiculous for video game journalists to be using. If your job is to play a game, you should probably learn how to actually play the game, instead of sitting here complaining about how difficult it is and how you're so bothered by the genre that you really no longer want games in it to be made. And you're saying, oh, we need to move on to a different trend. People like this trend. There's a reason why Souls-likes sell so well. They're not for everybody, and that's perfectly fine. But there are tons of other games that release. I mean, in 2024, there were over 18,000 games that released. I'm sure that you can find one or two that won't be too difficult for your delicate sensibilities, even though these people are getting paid to play video games. So it's just another bad take from video game journalists. This time they're saying, because I don't like a certain genre, we should stop making games in it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.